Got another video for you today on U.S. military training. This one's by Defense Video Archive. So I've watched a couple of their vids before and did reviews on them, but this one is on the U.S. Space Force. So I am not too familiar at all with what the Space Force is. I mean, in the name of the title, you kind of get an idea and understanding of what it might be, but I don't really know for sure what it is. So I'm going to check out this video. I believe they're part of the Air Force. Might even go through a BMT at Lackland Air Force Base as well. So just as a bit of an update on my son, I did finally get a letter, or 2 letters from him. They came out of order, and the passes for the graduation day, which is happening in December. So that should be fun. Looking forward to that trip next month. But anyway, I'm going to check out this video on the Defense Video Archive, U.S. Space Force Basic Military Training, and the link will be in the description if you're interested in checking it out or sharing it. So yeah, let's give it a look.
Today, space is essential not only to our way of life, it's absolutely critical to the modern way of war. GPS, ATMs, cell phones, gas pumps, traffic lights, power grids, guided missiles, surveillance, RPAs, ground combat control. There's no such thing as a day without space operations. You just don't see them. Earth is only half the battle. Cyber attacks and jamming of our satellites. Microsatellites that can create a debris field. At 17,000 miles an hour, a piece of metal the size of a coin can be weaponized. Now is the time for a military branch with a clear and singular focus on space. A military branch that protects the hopes and dreams of America and our way of life as the space domain becomes more and more contested. It's time.
Wow, what a really good intro. I mean, captivating. I really want to watch and see what happens now through the rest of the video. So they definitely did a really good job in like getting a lot of information up front in that first minute and just like pulling you in, sucking you in and wanting to watch what's going to happen next. And a lot of good stuff that I didn't, you don't really think about, but very, very interesting so far. Very cool.
Time for another giant leap. The United States Space Force is being built from the brightest minds across the space operations of the Air Force, our joint services, and the private sector. We aren't just getting ready for the near future, we're getting ready for the 22nd century. When our enemies ask, what if? We will have an answer. When foreign powers can build bases on the dark side of the moon, when private companies are inventing a new economy beyond our planet, we need to stay one step ahead of the future. And the future is where we'll make history. We will fight in an environment with no up or down, no left or right, where there are no borders and nowhere to hide. Our Space Force is defending our country, here on Earth and wherever our mission takes us. As commerce and exploration expand, we will imagine the unimaginable, anticipate the inconceivable, and prepare for the impossible. We won't just think outside the box. We'll think outside the atmosphere, in one of the most challenging environments ever known.
Wow. That's a really awesome video so far. It's great. Almost like I'm watching a trailer to a really cool movie. I don't know. I really like it. I'm curious to see what they say like about the training that goes into this, but really, really captivating and really good intro. Semper Supra. Yeah, Department of the Air Force.
People in the Air Force that can't join the Air Force because they can't deploy. But you don't deploy in the Space Force for the most part. 98% of you will not deploy. So why is that a limitation that I'm going to put on the Space Force when we want the best? We want the brightest.
I honestly didn't know that the Space Force was actually a thing until I got the phone call asking me if I wanted to join.
An idea that was with our current president, right? President Obama, President George W. Bush. This is something the Space Force, Space Corps, whatever you want to, like, it's been an idea that's been in germination since, it's just been September 15th. That was when I transferred over. Before that, I was a space system operator in the Air Force. Then I became Space Force. And I will not, like, even there's generals that didn't even think this was a thing. So they're like, Space Force? Copy that.
That's interesting. So yeah, it goes to show you how, when politicians or elected officials have an idea and they implement it, there clearly is some breakdown in communication in the command structure, because if generals didn't even know that it was a thing, that's, pretty interesting to think about. So they're just like, yeah, let's do a Space Force and make it happen. And apparently it happened in short order. And this guy was just in the Air Force one day and boom, the next day he's in the Space Force. So interesting.
So I'll have the slides up here. Again, you can just take notes. You understand? All right. But yes, organization, how things are set up, how the Space Force is set up. So what rumors, what have you heard about how the Space Force is set up compared to the Air Force? I know you guys are in basic training, so you probably have no idea how the Air Force is set up. The first lesson we'll be going over is Space Force organization. What does organization mean? Anybody, what does organization mean? Just raise your hand, tell me what you think the word organization. There you go.
So it's when you really what's the order, how it's set up.
How it's set up, right? So that is how. So yeah, you can take notes, but you guys should have this lesson on your iPads.
I'm just going to turn on captions because sometimes the people in the background, I couldn't even understand really what that person was saying. So maybe this will help out with that.
Space Force organizations.
The 5 men and 2 women were among the 414 recruits who completed 7.5 weeks of training. Assigned to the 320th Training Squadron, their training began October 20th.
Rear security here! Safe. Rear security, GMP3!
The number of Space Force trainees will continue to increase over time as processes for recruiting and training are solidified, and the Space Force plans to recruit a little more than 300 enlisted members through the end of the fiscal year.
Oh! Roll, boys! Take 6 steps away from the sound of my voice. Fingers!
Through January, all Space Force accessions will become Space Systems Operations Specialists, and in February, new accessions will join for positions in additional career fields such as Operations Intelligence and Cyber Systems Operations.
So this looks like it's just part of the Air Force BMT. Maybe they go through the same program but with different classes.
One, 2, 3. Rear security here!
Get over it! Get over it! Get over it!
Hey, pay attention real quick. What's going to happen is
Catch him! Catch him! Catch him! Hurry up! Hurry up! Catch him!
I'm a beast.
Don't let him win! Don't let him win! There you go! There you go! Catch him! Catch him! Catch him! Shimmy! 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 Shimmy!
I'm going to skip through some of this. They're not really talking about the Space Force much. It's just like regular. It's just an obstacle course. I mean, this looks again like part of the Air Force. I'll go back a little bit here.
That's that black tape.
This event is a celebration of the remarkable achievements of these graduating airmen and Space Force professionals. Over the last 7.5 weeks, these men and women have transformed from civilians into motivated, disciplined warriors with the foundation to serve in the world's greatest air and space forces. Once these graduates leave basic military training, they will proceed to technical training,
to garner the skills necessary to perform in their unique specialties. They will then transition to numerous bases around the world, some working directly with our sister services. Of the hundreds of thousands of American citizens that enter the workforce each year, less than 1% have joined the ranks of the United States military. These airmen and Space Force professionals have reached a milestone in their military journey and will require your continued support to assist them in their future endeavors. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the arrival of our official party and the playing of the musical honors.
I wonder if this is the coin ceremony, because I think the graduation day they're wearing their blues. So this may be the coin ceremony they do the day before graduation. That was a good, good speech by the guy.
Is the Space Force motto, Semper Supra.
Oh, okay, so for the Space Force, they have their own coin with their own logo and motto on the back of it. That's pretty cool. I'm just skipping through some of this because we've seen the coin ceremony stuff before, so I'm just checking if there's anything else specific to the Space Force. Yeah, so it looks pretty similar to the Air Force training. I'm guessing that after they go to their own technical schools, that they have their own specialized training for the Space Force. If you know any more about the Space Force, please leave some comments below and let me know, like, what your experience was with it or is with it. If you have maybe children that are in it, or maybe you're in it yourself. Leave some comments below about the distinctions between like the Air and Space Force. The intro to the video showed some really cool graphics and information about what the Space Force purpose is, but not really like a distinction in the training and stuff like that. And this video was pretty good. Again, the latter half of it looked like just, BMT from the Air Force. So is there any different training during BMT for Space Force? Are you kind of commingled with Air Force? Just curious about all that stuff. So anyway, hope you liked the video. I thought this was a pretty good and informative video. I really like the intro cinematics and information that they gave out. So what are your thoughts? Did you enjoy it? Hit that like button if you enjoyed the video and my commentary and breakdown of the video. I really appreciate you guys watching. Thank you so much. If you haven't yet, please subscribe and like the video and share it. And yeah, that's it for today. Peace.